Today I'm going to give you my first impressions of the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21, and we have to have a serious chat. It's not me, it's definitely you, Brooks. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Brendon, and on this channel, I upload videos multiple times a week all about the sport of running, from running shoe reviews to helping the beginner runner get into running just that little bit easier. If that's something you're into, really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, and it really helps out the channel a ton if you could hit that like button for the pesky YouTube algorithm. All right, let's get into the first impressions of this thing right here. But first, we have to have a little bit of coffee because I'm a little tired. Now that we're all caffeinated, let's talk about the specs of the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21. Guys, it is a ultra stability shoe. I have to tell you, this is a structured shoe if I've ever run in one. It comes in at 313 grams, or I think I have 11.04 ounces for you folks in the US of A. It is a 12 millimeter drop in this shoe. You have 30 millimeters of stack height in the heel and 18 in the forefoot. And guys, 12 millimeter drop is insane. It's, oh my God, that's a long way to go. I have to tell you that much. And as you'll find out later in the video, it's definitely noticeable when you're out there running. I went with a 10.5 US in this shoe, which I wear in all of my shoes. So yes, I would give this shoe a true to size rating with one little caveat that we'll get to when I talk about the upper. So the upper is this air engineered mesh, and that is something that has changed since my last time running in the shoe. I don't know if they've changed that in the version 20. If someone knows, please let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, so it's an engineered air mesh, I guess. I guess, sure. I don't really know what they mean when they call these uppers these different names, but it definitely feels like a mesh-like material. Actually, kind of similar to the Hyperion Elite number 2, but definitely not as breathable and much more padded and built up. Now, starting back here at the ankle collar and heel cup, it's a massively structured heel cup, as you would imagine and expect from a stability shoe. It does have a good amount of padding, but I will say, guys, it is ultra slippery. So if you're wearing a soft sock, you're going to be slipping all around. And that is something that I've definitely found. The lockdown through the heel just is not good. I have to tell you that much. Maybe I'll mess around with the lockdown system, but in the 2 runs that I've done in it so far, not great lockdown through the heel. The tongue is actually a really great tongue, I have to say. It's not gusseted, so you know I have to knock a few points down because it's not gusseted, but the tongue has a good amount of padding. It's not too bad, I have to say. The laces, actually, of all things, the laces are my favorite thing of this upper. I don't know why I wish I could put these laces on all of my other shoes. They're not too stretchy, they're not too long, they're not too thick. They do a good job. I have to say that much. Now, moving down to the toe box is where my annoyances start. Now, I will start by saying you do have a good amount of room in the toe box, and I was happy that I went true to size. However, on the lateral side, I guess it would be called, the inside of your foot, they have this overlay that I guess is to provide some structure. But what I found is that when I'm going through my gait cycle and going to that toe off, it kind of collapses and rubs on my big toe on my left-hand side, I think it is. My left and right, so I'm not too good with those, I'm sorry. But yeah, so it kind of collapses and causes some rubbing on my big toe, and it's super noticeable and annoying. Hasn't caused many hot spots, but I haven't done a run over 6 kilometers in this just yet. So yeah, I have 12 kilometers in this shoe, and I've noticed it every single meter. It's just constantly rubbing on my foot. So that's something that I will make you aware of. You will probably have a little bit of rubbing. Now, it's not as bad on the right-hand side, but it's still there. So Brooks, you gotta kind of fix the material around the toe box for the next iteration because this just ain't working. So overall, the upper is relatively breathable on these colder winter months. My footsies are cold. So I put on my smart wool socks because that merino wool is just the creme de la creme on these colder days. So overall for the upper, because of that annoyances, because I can't get a good lockdown, I have to give this a 1.7 out of 3. It could have been great, but those things are just so annoying right now. I'm sorry, Brooks. Maybe as I put more miles into this, it'll stretch a bit and not be so annoying. Maybe I'll be able to mess around with the lockdown, but right now, I can't give it a good score for the upper. So this midsole is a blend of two different foams. You have a denser foam on the inside where you're overpronating, so it's correcting that a bit more. And you have a DNA loft material, which is a bit softer on the outside. And it's definitely noticeable as I'm going along that we have a firmer foam on the inside and a softer foam on the outside. It's definitely very noticeable. I think I said outside very Canadian there. Like, wow, I'm feeling extra Canadian today, I guess. And they do have these guide rails, which does provide a bit more stability. Now the guide rails are like a firm piece of plastic that kind of keeps your foot in place. And guys, it definitely does keep my foot in place. I don't feel like I'm overpronating. And like I said, it's an ultra stability shoe. The arch support is there. I can feel it pressing up into my arch. So if you're someone that needs a lot of stability, this might be a great choice for you in terms of midsole. It does do a great job in providing that little bit of structure. Well, not a little bit, a lot of structure. What I will say though, is it feels clunky for me going from these nice, soft, beautiful plush neutral shoes such as the Triumph 18 into a stability shoe that has a very odd blend of foams, going from a very soft foam to a firm foam. It feels a little clunky to me. It's like there's so much going on my foot down there and I can't get into a rhythm. And even though they put more of this softer foam in here, it does feel a little firm. And I was trying to think back when I was running in the 19s and 18 version of this shoe, did it feel like this? And I think it probably did, but back then, I kind of just assumed that's how running shoes felt because I didn't have a broad horizon. But now that I've tested more and more running shoes, this definitely is a firm shoe. But I will say that's kind of what I expect when I think of stability shoes. But there are some great options coming up in the market, such as the Asics Gel Cyano Light, and the New Balance Prism, I think, is moving in the right direction, where they're lighter stability shoes that have stability kind of built into the midsole rather than these guide rails and firm foam and built up heel caps. I think that we're moving in the right direction in terms of stability shoes, but right now the Brooks Adrenaline lineup is still that firm stability shoe that I kind of have known to expect. Now, for those of you that are coming from like a Brooks line, like a Brooks Adrenaline line, I don't think you'll have any issues because I do kind of remember that the other lines did feel a bit firm, so it'll probably feel familiar when you're putting on this shoe. Now, the midsole, like I said, I felt it kind of clunky, and I'm really hoping that it's going to open up as I put more miles and kilometers into this. But right now, it doesn't make me excited to go run in this shoe, that's for darn sure. Now, in terms of midsole for score, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 3 just because I do find it a bit firm, but I do see the appeal to some people. If you need that ultra stability, it would do a fine job, and they haven't really regressed from the previous versions that I can tell. Moving on to the outsole, and guys, this outsole is collecting a lot of rocks. Like, oh my God, I didn't realize until I was getting set up for this video and looking at the outsole and kind of getting my thoughts together at just how much this is collecting. Like, I don't run on very like harsh roads. I run on pavement for the most part, which is super interesting to see all these pebbles. Like, holy moly. It does have a very, very thick rubber outsole. So I think that as the days get more icy and slippery, this might do a good job at providing that little bit more traction for me. So maybe I'll use it more when it starts snowing and running, and I'll really, really enjoy the outsole. For now, I think that it's just adding a lot of weight. Like, there's so much rubber down here, and like I wish I had a little measurement thing here because I'd measure the lug depth, because it looks, I'd say 1 or 2 millimeters at least deep of lug depth. In terms of outsole, I have to give it like a 2 out of 3 too, because like there's a lot going on here. It's collecting pebbles, but it will provide good traction, I think, when it gets a little bit icier and snowy. Now, this shoe comes in at 170 Canadian dollars. That's probably like 130 US dollars, something like that. And for a built-up stability shoe, I don't think that's a terrible price, because like the Asics Gel Cyano Light is, I think, 215 Canadian dollars. I don't even know what that is in US, 160 maybe. And that's just insane. So the Brooks Adrenaline isn't super overpriced. So in terms of value and price, I'm gonna give it an okay score at like, I don't know, 2.5 out of 3, just because all the other stability shoes I can think of are more expensive than this guy right here, or at least in the same ballpark. Now, my overall thoughts of this shoe are, as you can probably tell, pretty negative right now. I don't particularly like it, and I wouldn't recommend it to a neutral shoe runner who wants to just branch out and try a stability shoe. I definitely don't recommend this shoe for you. You're better off trying the New Balance Prism or Asics Gel Cano Light. Now, I will say I haven't tried either of those shoes, but based on the reviews I've read and heard, those would be a good option if you're a neutral runner that wants a stability shoe just for those days that your legs need a little bit extra coffee. But if you're coming from a built-up stability line like the Brooks Adrenaline already, I don't think you can go wrong with getting the version 21. Now, I will say that if you can get the version 20 or version 19 for sale, I definitely go with that road just to save a couple extra dollars. I think I saw the GTS 19 for $100 on the Brooks website. I think that was 100 Canadian too, so I don't know what that would be in US. But overall, I'm going to continue using it for very easy days and not long runs. I don't think I can run more than 5 miles in this shoe without getting sore, so I'm not going to use it for anything longer than that. So it's going to take me a little bit to get to that 50-mile mark because I'm not really excited to run in this shoe, and I'm not going to do long runs in this shoe. It's just going to kind of be an easy day, short run type shoe because it's just super clunky right now. But who knows, maybe it'll open a bit up over the next miles and kilometers, and I want to run in it just that bit more. So let me know, have you run in the Brooks Adrenaline lineup before, or are you coming from a neutral shoe looking for a stability shoe and you thought this might be the one and you are disappointed to hear that I don't think it is? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to throw it back to the Brooks Hyperion Elite number 2 just to stick on the theme of Brooks. All right guys, remember, drink your water, get out there and run, and have fun while doing it. I will catch you on the next one where we're going to be talking about this shoe right here. Just wait, just wait. We are going to be talking about the Hoka Rocket X. I'm taking this for the first run today, so you can expect to see this video tomorrow. All right, see you then.